like every card, that resource management that we got to see come out earlier is just insane.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's all sorts of different decks, honestly. We've seen the Lost Box decks do that, the Regigigas, the Zoroark. There's so many opportunities where you can just use these one prize. Even Lugia just uses a bunch of one prize Pokemon often and makes it a little more of an interesting game than just the Vs going back and forth. So we've loved seeing that, and it also adds to having that 50 minutes that we're working with. We've seen a lot of those games just go for 40 minutes because you have a lot of thinking to do.
Yeah, I'm still glad that we got to see the Slowbro come out in the last one, too.
Oh, yeah.
That's no Kyogre on the day for you. I know that was a disappointment from last time, but I think the Slowbro might have been a little cooler, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely up there. It's a very fun one. It's not exactly like a super dramatic attack, but it just feels so rewarding after you finally get it all set up.
I was excited. I was like, this can't be a repeat of the Kyogre where we thought the players were about to pull off this maneuver and couldn't quite. We actually got to see the cool cards do the cool things, so it's been a pretty good day.
I'm ready to see cool cards do cool things. And we're going to go ahead and take it to the stage. We've got a special treat for everybody. You're going to recognize the face here.
We got Mr. Chip Richey here playing for the winning in. I mean, normally he's behind Eskier, the one commentating these types of matches, and we're going to see if he can put his money where his mouth is and make it into this day two, going up against Anthony Salomone.
Yeah, Anthony Salomone, he's going to have a big name opponent against him. Chip Richey, 3 years in the making, finally gets back to the big table and is looking to have success. He's going to be bringing a Lost Box deck as he has been testing with Azul GG and friends. And they've got an interesting build this time around. I think we do see that the Kyogre has officially been retired, but definitely some other friends involved there. So, oh, actually, look, he snuck it. They kept it back in
there.
Okay, yeah.
There's the chance, you know. I know you and Chip are close. I know Chip knows that you want to see that card. Maybe we'll see it play out. But going up against Anthony, we've talked about these one prize attacking decks. This is something we got to see earlier on. It's going to be the Reggie and Friends this time around. I mean, this deck that never truly dies. It's been around for a while. I thought it was a meme when I first saw it, but definitely proving its worth here. We've gotten to see it do pretty good things today.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. We did have a similar match earlier on in the tournament where we saw Michael Pramwad playing against a Regigigas with his Lost Zone, but his Lost Box, but it had some different cards to it. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Chip pilots this matchup as we are going to see these single prize Pokemon going at it.
Yeah, especially with, we talked about it earlier, a couple of awkward numbers here to be hitting, especially with the capability that Anthony has for things like these scoop up nets and stuff to make sure that you can't be stacking too much damage. So Chip does have to be aware and playing around that. Though we got to see, obviously, it is very possible all of a sudden the damage gets stacked up, the scoop up net isn't there, or the Sableye is just too good at moving all the damage counters across the board and can find win conditions in that way.
All right, looks like our players are ready to show us some prize cards. One Drago in the prizes so far. Looks like Chip's going to have a decent showing here as he's got a Colress Experiment waiting for him as one of his early prize cards.
2 Colress's Experiment, though, in total in the prizes. And I mean, you want to try, that's the whole thing is getting cards in the Lost Zone. So have to see if he's able to draw into that in these early turns to make sure that engine's up and running.
Ready?
It's going to be exciting. Let's go ahead. The fist bump. The game is live. We're going to see if Chip Richey can find his way into day 2.
All right.
Starting things off here, Chip will be first to act. Though not a coffee in the active slot. Instead, we've talked about the different Pokemon that can be added into these lists to try and find any sort of advantage, and it's going to be the Zeraora as the starting Pokemon for Chip.
Yeah, this is obviously a great inclusion when you're playing against the Lugia builds. You want to have that early answer, that lightning Pokemon that can combat that. As this deck doesn't hit for a lot of damage to one direct Pokemon. It likes to spread a lot of damage and set up some cool knockouts, and that's what Chip's going to be trying to do in this matchup. Of course, his opponent is going to be playing down plenty of those Reggie Pokemon. And if you can get the damage spread, maybe you have an opportunity to knock out multiple Pokemon at once and leave your opponent in a spot where they're going to have a hard time getting all of the Reggies back into play.
capture energy for the first move done on Chip's end. Good opportunity to try and find a Pokemon to be putting onto the bench. I mean, the comfy mainstay in these types of decks. If you can get that into the active slot, all of a sudden that flower selecting, you're able to start drawing through your deck.
Yeah, and this is where the having the 2 Colress's experiments could be a little awkward. Of course, you're just trying to get some cards into the Lost Zone here, so if Comfy's able to help out in this spot, that'd be fantastic. At least just having that lined up for next turn, maybe starting to work in the early Cramorant on turn 2.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get to 2 cards in the Lost Zone if you can get another Comfy. So you get 2 this turn, 2 next turn, you're already at that first magic number. Of course, you have the 4, 7, and 10. So first flower selecting, coming on through, and this is where we have seen the decisions have to be made on what you want to be getting rid of for good.
Yep, already a little awkward decision there. More Pokemon would be great. Capture Energy's gone, and wow, Pokestop's going to find the Battle VIP pass. That's a great start there.
The only turn that you can use it, but it's oh so great when you can find it and start loading that bench up. Make sure that you have another Comfy to be in around with. You can start looking at something like that Radiant Greninja. The concealed cards is fantastic for draw power.
And even throws away the Drapion V. It's just that's a pretty good Pokestop, where it just gets rid of a completely useless Pokemon, finds you the now double Comfey and the Radiant Greninja as well to continue this opening turn.
Yeah, definitely not upset about that whatsoever. Makes up for the little bit of an awkward flower selecting that had to go on by. You'll take that where you can, right?
Of course. Gonna see some additional cards here from the Radiant Greninja. We're finding a lot of pieces for the middle stage of the game. Plenty of Mirage Gates, but let's add another coin onto these Comfies and try to draw some more cards.
I like that. Nice little way to track it. Nice and easy on our eyes. Going to be getting rid of a Psychic Energy on the second flower selecting 2 in the Lost Zone. Now halfway to being able to get that Cramorant online for next turn.
Yep, and we speak about this often. Just getting at least 2 into the Lost Zone feels like the comfort spot where you're not completely reliant on the Colress's experiment, but if you do find it, then there's that reach to maybe get to 7, and then you can open up a bunch of different avenues to get aggressive on the second turn.
Gift Energy to start things off on
wow.
to the opening Riches, but
Sure.
wow.
That is quite the professor's research.
That is not a great feeling whatsoever. Scoop Up Net, 3 Aurora Energies, and a Boss's Orders. I mean, you have to get cards. Sometimes that's just where the chips fall, but the sacrifices never feels great.
I mean, 3 Aurora Energies is great, but where are the Pokemon? This is maybe going to be a little slower. Maybe the Pokestop needs to be used. This is a card that used to be featured in Reggie builds all the time, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see it used.
Trekking Shoes, a little bit more draw power, but starting to get a couple of these Reggies on the board. Was able to draw the Regigigas and the Regieleki off of the research, getting the energy in the discard. Very nice, though losing the Scoop Up Net does suck. The Ultra Ball will get the Regidrago, start getting the pieces of this puzzle put together.
This is unreal. All the energies necessary to perform the best attacks in this deck are already lined up. If there was a way to move this Regice, if this Pokestop could help out, maybe find some cards to get to a Scoop Up Net, that'd be great, but that's just a pair of shoes.
I mean, the hesitation makes me feel like this is not the Scoop Up Net that you would want. There is only the 3 in this list, with one of them already being discarded off of that research.
Gonna just be the Regigate here, which is, of course, a concession to not being able to get the turn 1, but you know, it feels pretty good when you get a Regirock and think about next turn, because Anthony is definitely going to be looking to perform some big attacks.
Yeah, it definitely could be worse. Being able to get that Regigate and start throwing something onto your bench is nice. And now we'll see if Chip can throw even more into the Lost Zone and start getting something going on his end. Our selecting Bird Keeper going to be the move to go into that Lost Zone.
Yep, Scoop Up Net, such a fantastic card. Every time you see it, basically means that you get a reset button with that Comfy. And you're going to get 1 card closer. And oh no, Chip. not like this. Second Psychic Energy or the Kyogre.
That's where you really have to start making those decisions on how you want your game plan to be going down, because you don't have many Psychic Energies, but you also only have the one Kyogre, and if you think that's going to be the game plan that you want to be going towards, you can't throw it away, but those energy counts, I mean, that can be a tough blow as well.
Yeah, I think this just speaks to Chip's strategy, as the Kyogre is actually very strong as a closer. If you can just take two knockouts before you get to that last stage of the game where you're gonna try to use the Kyogre twice in a row, you could completely wipe the board out clean. There's no way to protect the bench when you're adding all 6 Pokemon, all 6 Reggies.
We'll have to see how that goes later down the line, but for right now, it's just going to be the Cramorant a little spit innocently onto the active Regieleki on Anthony's end. Registeel, instant bench that. We got the whole party going, and now it's time for a Marnie.
A little bit of hand disruption, also gets to preserve the Regieleki and keep that in the deck. So very solid start here for Anthony. Also worth noting, there are all of the energies available. So any attack is basically at Anthony's disposal here. There is no Manaphy down, so perhaps an opportunity here to start putting some pressure on Comfys.
Definitely could be nice just to put Chip in a weird position where that has to be something that is prioritized then later on. Basically, hey, if you don't have an answer to this, this is gonna be a really rough situation for you. Looking at the Path to the Peak in hand could shut down Chip being able to draw cards with the Pokestop as well, turning that Radiant Greninja offline, so no concealed cards.
Yeah, and that's something that might be pretty crucial at this point. Chip has not found a single Colress's experiment. It's not been able to move past the 4 cards in the Lost Zone either. So once this Cramorant it falls, what else is there right now?
Comfies that are about to be hurting a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, there it goes. The Terra Spark is going to definitely put the pressure on here, and it's going to be tough sailing if Chip does not find some help here from his friends.
Yeah, the Cramorant going down. The Comfies, it's hurt. Gonna finally get that Colress's experiment, though, to be able to C5 and throw 2 of them away into the Lost Zone. Battle VIP pass, very easy decision. Gonna throw the boss's orders in there as well. Or hit that.
Wow, yeah, I think Chip understands that this was not going to work out there. He already had 5 energies in the Lost Zone and just could not find the right pieces. And it's going to scoop for time, understanding that with just 50 minutes to play, if you want to win 2 games in a single prize matchup, you're going to need every single minute.
Hits the 7s, like, yeah, nope. Just kidding. This isn't going well whatsoever. But I mean, with these single prize attackers, it is so important to know when there's not actually anything going for you and when you need to be scooping the game, because the last thing you want is all of a sudden you've dragged out this first game and you have no way of closing out a second game.
Yeah, we talk about this so often, and Chip never really wants to call other players out for their decisions, but let's give credit where credit's due, because that it is tough to be in a situation like that where you know that everything is on the line and you want to see just one more card, one more turn. No, he's like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, that's the trap. That's the moment where, like, because there's normally like a percentage to maybe win. Things go right for you, things go kind of wrong for your opponent. But I mean, playing with the less than ideal odds is not going to be a good shout. So to see, I mean, how the second game goes, less Colress's experiments prize would be a really nice start for one.
Yeah, you know, if you get any of those going and not find them on your last turn of the game, but looks like we'll get a peek once more. Oh, this is much different, as we see double Aurora Energy and 2 Reggies for Anthony, along with 2 Ordinary Rod for Chip.
These are some prizes, that is for sure. There is a couple of weird prizes going on in this one. Start things off, it'll be the action on Chip again to start. It'll be the Zeraora lead the charge, but right away Battle VIP pass.
And there is a second one in hand as well. Chip definitely thinking this is definitely a hand you can get some damage done with, and you really do need that kind of setup when you're playing against the Reggies, as you're trying to get that early aggression, those early prize cards, put them on the back foot, make them have to continually look for those ordinary rods, and eventually they might just mismanage their resources trying to keep up with you.
At first battle VIP pass was a Sableye and the Radiant Greninja. A little bit of a shake of the head. I think that was meant to be a comfy there. Makes a lot more sense. They're both purple. It's been a long, long day. The Sableye would be so nice if you could use it in the really early turns of the match, but you're 10 lost one away from that, buddy.
Well, he's not nervous, he says, but you know, I would just stick to it and go with an intimidation factor, saying, yeah, I meant to grab this, and I'm going to get 10 in the lost zone by turn 2.
This is going to be sitting here just staring you down. You know what's on the horizon. That's definitely, it's a flow. I mean, it's not really doing you any good right now. The second battle VIP pass, at least not all is lost. If there was only the one pass, you all of a sudden are out confies. But the second one, you can get the 2 confy out and start going for the flower selecting, and maybe we can get that Sableye as soon as possible. I don't know.
Wow, this is fantastic. Just flowing right now. These scoop-up nets are going crazy left and right. And Chip, I think he meant to bench that Comfy back down. He's playing a little too quick. He's going to just re-promote the Zeraora.
I mean, when the game starts off with something like the Sableye, this is the moment where you take a deep breath, just play it slow. There's still so much time. Yes, you're down a game, but there's 37 minutes. Just slow down a little bit. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, no, this is still a very strong setup. I'm going to go ahead and find the Oranguru as well. Continue to look through and see. Maybe you get a little more information of what's going on in your deck. You can manipulate that top card too for potential Marnie from your opponent and still be in a pretty strong spot.
Yeah, last bench slot. And that's going to be the Oranguru. Make sure that Primate Wisdom, you can Marnie proof yourself, make sure that you like what you're going to be seeing on the top of your deck next turn before passing it over to Anthony. Hizui and Heavy Ball to start things out. We got to see that there was the Registeel and the Regieleki both in the discard, so we'll be able to grab one of those and see that energy situation.
Yep, always being able to look at the prize card so helpful, and especially when you can find a resource as valuable as one of these Reggies early on. You just give yourself an opportunity to get to that potential big turn 1 or turn 2, and you get all the information, can save yourself the trouble of looking through the deck and trying to memorize everything that's going on.
Especially when you have so many Pokemon that you need to be keeping track of as well as everything else. Just being able to see the prize cards is so much more beneficial, and then the chance to get one down. The Reggie is also in hand. There's going to be really nice and trekking shoes opportunity. That's going to be the Regieleki for free.
Yep, and this is a spot where as soon as you see that you have double Aurora prized, you can start to go, okay, well, I'm not going to commit anything to Regidrago because it's way too hard to find my only other 2 Aurora energies. So let's work on this Regieleki, use these speed lightning energies, draw some cards, and maybe eventually I can put the pressure on like I did last time as we continue to not see the Manaphy from Chip.
Looks like such a good hand. Would have to get rid of the speed energy with the Ultra Ball, but last card in hand looks like it is the Research. So, I mean, that's exactly where it'd be going anyways. And this will be the 4th Reggie on the bench. Actually.
That goes with the double Regidrago here. And that is, of course, a little bit of a risk, but if you're expecting to be able to pick this Pokemon back up, then you can feel a little more comfortable.
You just gotta lay the odds, see how you're feeling. You get picked up. It's gonna be all right. Opportunity. See a couple more cards here.
Oh, wow. Found 3 supporters, and he's going to discard them all.
That is a rough call. That's you get to see more cards with that Research, but you already had that in hand. But Scoop Up Net, Ilbel, being able to grab, I believe, that Regirock. So a couple things that were useful off of that, but the supporters being thrown away definitely hurts.
Well, eyes up the speed lightning energy that's in the discard pile, but we don't see Gigas yet. There's the wrong Reggies are out right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, you need one of every type. So scoop up net, swap it. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, that'll help out a little bit. I am surprised to see that the active wasn't scoop up netted, and you maybe could start to use the Regieleki earlier on, maybe get some damage down if you wanted, but gonna just go ahead and get the one on the bench there.
Get it all prepped up for next turn. No Manaphy out. Though to start things off for Chip's turn, does get the Colress's Experiment earlier than last time around, so chance to get some cards. And that'll be 4 now in the loss zone.
Love throwing away that choice belt, completely useless this time around, and starting to increase the loss zone now. Of course, Comfy gonna try to assist as well.
Flower selecting Mirage Gate. Thrown away. That one always kind of stings a little bit, but you do have 4 of them, so sometimes that is decision needing to be made. I believe having the escape rope instead off of that Pokestop. Nice to be able to bump the path to the peak. You're going to be able to see some more cards, maybe get some items as well. You'll have access to your Greninja again. Has to get rid of the boss's orders, but be okay.
Yeah, this is fine. Just get the hand as big as possible. Try to give yourself as many opportunities to get the deck a little bit smaller. It means that you're getting closer to eventually working in the Kyogre and taking those multiple prizes. But honestly, at this point, you're just looking to find a decent attacker, and it's gotten clunky. We see the Zeraora and the Sableye right now.
Yeah, that's definitely some valuable bench spot that's being taken up. Start setting up the Sableye for 4 more turns. It'll be a Primate Wisdom. Get set up for next turn. Look down the line before just inevitably having a pass.
And I think that, yeah, that puts us up to 6 now. 10 is realistic next turn with the Colress Experiment. Certainly could happen, but we have seen a lot of these scoop up nets used, so probably gonna have to use a lot of those valuable switching effects to get the job done, but well worth it, as Sableye will be able to manipulate a lot of the hit points here, try to get some Pokemon in range for knockouts.
Yeah, maybe we didn't want to see it put down on the first turn, but it is a really good Pokemon in this matchup in being able to deal damage counters everywhere. So once you get to 10, that's going to be absolutely brilliant. Anthony, going to be getting rid of a couple cards. And the Serena, big draw here.
Yeah, the hand is pretty bad. There's not much going on, but does find the scoop up net and has the escape rope as well. So at least something can get going here with the Regieleki. Pokestop going to try to help out. Oh, no! They're gone!
The Reggies are just going to be banished into the discard pile, as well as the professor's research this time around. At least there is the cards in hand. There's the capability to get this Regidrago out of the active slot. It's going to be the escape rope, so a chance for Chip to switch things around. Just throw the Zeraora Ricochet. Perfect.
Yep, the energy is in hand for Anthony, so this should be a very solid Terra Spark. I'd be surprised to see if the damage doesn't target down the Comfies once more. And yeah, that is always a very solid play there.
Yeah, it was the moment, around this moment in the first game that the writing was on the wall, and having this energy on the Comfies definitely hurt. If you can get the 2 flower selectings and the crawlers, you can get to 10 and be able to start using that Sableye. At this point, to need to find the Manaphy.
Yeah, and the Manaphy's, of course, so helpful here to protect the Comfies. And I mean, when you look at the bench space, it means that Sableye definitely needs to get going this turn. It's going to be completely reliant on having the Colress Experiment or enough switching effects here. So Chip just going to go ahead, guarantee the Manaphy, and then eventually have those flower selectings to try to work through the rest of the deck.
Yeah, and it's not a bad shout if the Sableye can get up and running. If there ends up being a pass and can't go for an attack, then you'll be falling so far behind. With the Colress's Experiment in hand, it's going to be so useful. Easy decision there, the choice belt in the Drapion instantly into the loss zone. And as long as the rest of the cards line up, looks like there's an escape rope in there. It's an energy. It should be able to get both of the flower selectings needed.
Yep. It's, looking strong here. Chip once again going to value those resources, the energy recycler, so that potential Kyogre shenanigans can happen at least a second time.
And one flower selecting use and the switch card to bring the other into the active. A little bit of healing onto the Comfy that's going to the bench, so you know, a nice little bonus. And water energy and a Snorlax for the flower selecting, and another decision where you have to say, okay, what is my ultimate game plan? Where is this line? Is it with the Snorlax, or do I need to value these energies? Because if you want to go for that Kyogre N, that is important.
Yeah, and Chip is really trying to figure out how to go about that, and it looks like the water energy is not going to be important there. Going to try to work in the Snorlax potentially to help out with these prize cards.
No more mistakes, hopefully.
And we are so close. Finally there. 10 in the lost zone. Sableye ready to go.
Sableye, we've been waiting for you. We know that you're raring to go here, and we'll finally be able to start dealing some damage in return as soon as that's been able to be brought up into the active. And perfect timing too, because with these single prize attackers, falling behind in the prize rate by too much can be sure disaster.
Well, this is a pretty good spot for Chip. If he can start to spread some of this damage, I don't recall if the special energies are going to be available for this Regidrago to start attacking. And that could be a spot where Anthony just has to continue to use the Pokestop, try to get closer to finding those cards, and then work in attacks.
I'm going to do 4 damage counters on 3 different Regis this time around. And now it's up to Anthony. We got to see already the escape rope used last time around. And we'll have to see what else is available. It is a scoop up net in hand, I believe.
Well, when you see the 4s go down, that means that Radiant Greninja is thinking of making an appearance. There are 4 water energies in this deck, and 2 are in the lost zone. So it's going to have to be the 2 remaining waters to help out and get that Pokemon attacking.
Sounds like just enough water energy to get that Pokemon up and running, honestly.
Well, we'll see if Chip's able to find those at the right time. Right now, it's all about Anthony trying to work in some additional attacks. Going to work in the Aurora energy now. Thin the hand down a little bit. Maybe Dragon's Cord can eventually help out.
Be able to draw 1 more off of that. Draw into this arena there, I believe. The scoop up net. Make sure you can get that out of the active slot. Bring this Regieleki back forward. Of course, won't be able to snipe with the Manaphy out, but this turn it will be the Marnie. See a couple more cards and disrupt the hand that Chip's been holding.
Yeah, it's all about finding the prize cards and continuing to put the pressure back onto Chip, taking knockouts and making Chip find the answers, because it's not guaranteed at this point. We see Comfies will be able to continue to draw, but you're going to have the switching effect into the attacking Pokemon time and time again, and we saw so many resources used just to get to this point.
Yeah, and Path to Peak will make that path just a little bit more difficult for Chip 2 going on forward with the concealed cards. That's 2 loss that you'll be able to see unless you're able to get that out of the way. It'll be the energies attached into the Regieleki to take the KO onto the Sableye, and now we'll see where this response can be with the Comfy being active. Colress, to see a few more cards is definitely going to be nice.
Don't see too many energies. We know that water energy is very precious. That is the key to Radiant Greninja starting to attack at some point.
So instead of lightning energy is going to be making its way into that lost zone, as well as an escape rope, holding on to 2 energy and the scoop up net. Mirage Gate in hand.
Like this from Chip, he's going to go ahead and check the energies, make sure that if this Mirage Gate is used, that at least it will be able to find 2 beneficial energies for the Radiant Greninja. And looks like the count should still be pretty decent, even though he is holding on to 3 different energies, and we have seen a few hit the lost zone.
Wisdom. See 1 more card.
Well, lightning for lightning.
Yeah.
It's not helping too much there. And is there no water energy in there? Oh no.
The water energy in the lost zone. Also the water energy in the prizes.
Yeah, that's brutal. Just not going to have enough waters to use the Radiant Greninja. Going to have to attack with a different Pokemon at this stage. We've seen so many resources used just to get to this point. Lightning to a Comfy.
that might be the roughest Mirage Gate that I've seen in recent times.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. The water energies are so important to having the Radiant Greninja use the Kyogre as well, and just getting those multiple prizes. And if you're not going to have those to take the prize cards, you'll never get to that water energy that you so desperately need.
Scoop up net, gonna grab the Comfy, put the other one into the active. I mean, can try and see what else you can go for. Energy Recycler and Kyogre. It's not getting any easier for our boy out here.
These are impossible decisions. And Chip's just trying to find something to continue to attack and get something going here. He does have the Cramorant in hand, so at least can get some chip damage down. Can work the Sableye in too, and I think he's just going to have to try to go for some prize cards to find water energy here.
Yeah, I mean, the Kyogre's a lot of fun to see, but at the same time, there's a lot more that needs to be done. It's not doing you any good. So the Sableye is going to have to be the one that makes the appearance.
Is that better?
Yep, does not find the water energy. Still in the prize cards. So going to have to get things done here with the Psychic Energy on the Sableye. And it just doesn't line up very well. We still see that there are also 2 Ordinary Rod in the prize cards too. And it just makes finding these prizes so difficult.
Yeah, only running the 2 Ordinary Rod, and I believe was the Mirage Gate that was grabbed off of the prizes, and that's not the one that you really need to be quite seeing at the moment.
Well, for Anthony now, was holding on to this last turn. I love the fact that he held on to it. Doesn't worry about his opponent disrupting the hand at all. It's just not something you're going to see from Chip's side. So waited the turn, saw which Pokemon got knocked out, and now has an opportunity to refill with that Regieleki, get the double Aurora energy into the discard pile, and every attack is basically lined up now.
Yeah, you're good to go with whatever Reggie that you want to be attacking with. You can really just try and make sure you're set up. But things, as long as you can keep the Reggie engine going, we've seen a couple times where you can't grab that one that you need and things come to a grinding halt. But in pretty good shape right now. Going to take the chance to throw Twin Energy onto the Regigigas.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we see the gift energy, and that's the big one here. The hand is not very impressive. At least it is the Regirock, so if this Pokemon were to be knocked out, we'll have the refill Reggie ready to go. But there's an avenue where Chip could knock out enough Reggies and target the correct one and just leave his opponent in a spot where there's not an attack next turn.
There's still so much needs to get done, though, for that. No access to the Ordinary Rods, no access to that water energy, and already so much use. We're selecting to see 2 more cards, but I mean, they never get easier. Gonna throw the Snorlax away.
Yep, Snorlax, of course, could use any of those energies and try to get a knockout here, but Cramorant does the same job for free. So let's go ahead and use the resources we got, and hopefully surprise cards can help out here.
Well, as long as things are grabbed in a normal order, it's going to be the Ordinary Rod next. So that'll be at least nice for Pokemon. It's not the water energy, but you'll at least have an attacker.
Wow. And off the top, there's the Ordinary Rod ready to go. Going to continue to get the refill there. And has an opportunity to thin the hand down a little more, use that Dragon's Horde, and have the attack lined up for the Cramorant. And this is the spot where you start to see how the matchup can be a toss-up, because Anthony's going to continue to take these prize cards. He's got the advantage, and this is the spot where Chip would love to start using a card like the Radiant Greninja or the Kyogre. Take multiple prize cards in this spot and start to thin the lead a little bit.
A couple turns away from that, would have to take 1 more prize to get that water energy, and then see what work Radiant Greninja can do from there, and just hope that not too much damage has been done. Regirock instantly thrown back onto the bench here for Anthony before that Dragon's Horde. Get a couple more cards in hand.
Yeah, I mentioned those gift energies, and finds 2 off the Dragon's Horde, and that can be pretty game-changing. If these Pokemon are, of course, knocked out by damage instead of those damage counters, then the gift energy is going to trigger, and then you're going to draw so many cards. it makes it so much easier to have the refill ready to go.
Especially in a deck that can sometimes be a little clunkier. You just can't get that last piece. It's such an important part to make sure that you always just have something there ready, at the ready and go. The Aurora Energy, get rid of that, throw it in the discard, but I mean, that can just go right back on.
Yeah, works out very well here. We see the Regidrago ready to go. Easy knockout lined up on the Cramorant, and gonna do a little bit of healing too. Maybe Anthony worried about the water energy, as he rightfully should be, and it's going to at least protect from a double knockout.
Yeah, and that's one thing with the scoop up nets, to just slowly take away the work that Chip has been putting in. Having that ordinary rod, though, the chance to go grab a couple of attackers. We say that Sableye instantly throwing it back down as well. The energies that is going to be required of it. Heavy leaning towards the Sableye at this point.
Yeah, and there's not much left. I think it's just one card in deck right now. It's gonna be Chip grasping at straws, trying to find an opportunity to get to that water energy, and I think even then there's gonna have to be a hiccup from Anthony to just slow down a little bit, because the prize cards continually are happening every single turn.
Yeah, they have to have the unluckiest draw of your life, unable to be able to do what the deck is designed to do. I mean, sure, things don't work out all the time with Reggie, why it hasn't, been one of the top decks like a Lugia or something, but still, when it's set up like this and you have the gift energies and everything else, the flower selecting for Chip.
I mean, it just doesn't feel fair. Like, I mean, the deck is just energies and Sableye at this point, so when you use flower selecting, you kind of know that you're going to be in a spot like this, but you take the Sableye, you can get the energy from a Mirage Gate.
Well, at least energy recycler, the ones that are in your discard can go back. There's only the two. All the energies are in the loss zone at this point, and that is a call.
Yeah, just has to get an additional one onto the Comfy just to retreat and get the Sableye going here. And you have to target prize cards. Do you just go after the Regieleki and remove that and hope that your opponent just can't find the refill? I mean, they still are going to take a knockout with the Regidrago.
I feel like you have to, because you know that water energy is in the prizes somewhere. You just hope that you can take the prize, keep up in any sort of way. You're already far behind, get the water energy, and then hope that Anthony just can't quite piece things together.
I guess maybe there's a route where you try to get the damage onto the Regi Ice, and you can soften up the Drago, and then maybe that makes it a little easier, as you know that Pokemon is just going to clear your board in 2 turns. So I do like seeing some damage placed onto the active here.
Yeah, make sure that you can take that out when necessary. Debating about the rest of them, where things are going to be going down. Jux looks like going to be putting damage counters everywhere, going to prioritize just doing the most impact, so one scoop up net is not really going to make too much of a dent.
We'll see if there's enough time, enough resources for anything to happen on Chip's side, but Anthony's just nonstop, continually finding opportunities to put himself in a better position, to have the resources available if anything awkward happens here, and having the gift energy down means that can feel comfortable if a card like the Cramorant or even the Radiant Greninja, if it ever started going, you'll have that answer there. And Regidrago trolling into the Professor's Research feels pretty nice.
One player is having a lot of fun with the cards that they're drawing into, and the other is not whatsoever. Being able to get that research, get a refresh of your hand, and grab 7 new cards is certainly going to be nice. Attaching the gift energy onto the Regigigas before doing so, and now can just thin a couple things out, get rid of things like that Choice Belt.
Yep, see a couple of those go down, and there's quick balls in hands for when you eventually need to refill and find the right Regi, but no reason to do just that. Looks like one more turn for Mr. Chip Richey. He's going to try to find something. At least he's got a knockout. He's going to make his opponent have the Regidrago, or the additional twin energy.
Yeah, I was going to spit innocently, get rid of that. But of course, gift energy, a chance to draw into more cards, and it's just put in the position. All right, do you have it? Do you have a way to get that Regidrago? Do you able to get it? Ordinary Rod, throw that back in. The quick ball, yeah, that is said and done. It is going to be the Regigigas making its way into day 2. Congratulations here to Anthony.
Anthony Salomone with a fantastic performance there with the single prize Pokemon in that Regigigas build. Making his way through a tough competitor in Chip, trying to get the job done there. It's a little unfortunate the way the cards fell, but it's always great to see both these competitors trying to get their way into day 2. But it's going to be Anthony coming out on top.
Yeah, it's still great effort by Chip. I mean, so close to doing the thing, so still out of him, but I mean, it was Regigigas was just too much for Lost Box. Going up against the single prizers, they're awkward numbers to be hitting. You have to be so careful. And then when things aren't going your way, the flower selectings, the prizes, the draws, it's a tough time.
Yeah, you could see the strategy. Chip was trying to prioritize having the resources for the Kyogre, was trying to burn through the deck as quick as possible with the Pokestop and just get it down to a point where you could use the Kyogre twice, take a bunch of prize cards, and not have to worry about your opponent getting off to a quick start. And I mean, everything was there except the water energies that continued to fall into the lost zone time and time again. And you're working with a precious resource there, and when they're not there, it's game over.
Yeah, and kind of forced his hand a little bit too, because then we saw the flower selectings come a bit more desperate as the stuff that was left in the deck was all good stuff, and then you're making the choices, and all of a sudden that Kyogre's no longer there, and you're kind of playing with scraps a little bit as you're trying to put something together.
Yeah, it's much different story for Michael Premont when he had the opportunity. Had a couple different tech cards, and maybe it was just easier to work those into the matchup. We saw the Mirage Gate really do a lot of work and was able to help out there, but Chip just not able to get it done here. Of course, excellent showing. Great to see him back and playing competitively once more, and Anthony, congratulations. A big win here on stream, moving into day 2, and has an opportunity to make a big run.
With Regigigas, nonetheless.
Yeah.
There's definitely the fans of the deck, the people that have been with that deck since day 1, so you know that they're going to be content to be able to see it be going into day 2 and hopefully making the distance. I mean, it is a deck that does amazing things when it's all up and running, and the gift energies, I mean, we even saw at the end. I mean, that's almost impossible to deal with.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun deck to watch, and we had a great time looking at that as well. Let's go ahead and